Hello, and welcome back to Lord of Heroes News on Nyris Gaming. We have our first update of the new year incoming, and I am happy with some things and severely not happy with other things as far as I can tell, so let's get into that, shall we? Woo! The next update is in 5 days on January 17th. First things first, those foretold hero and skill balance updates. We have a few heroes getting adjusted, one of which I was fully not expecting. First one here, clearly, is Earthfram. She is a sniper. I believe she was one of those T events, or she was paid. I can't remember. I should probably actually look that up. Okay, she was a link summon because she was a paid-only package, so she's only a link summon now. But if you did get her, she's getting some nice buffs. Her base attack is going up from 345 to 441. They're pushing her in more of a damage direction. Her 1 attacks a selected enemy, 80% chance to reduce their defense for 2 turns. Additionally, increases the crit rate of the ally with the highest attack for 1 turn. That is getting an extra 10% on the defense reduction chance. And her burst, spare cost of 4, attacks all enemies, increases defense of all allies for 2 turns, and additionally grants immunity to all allies for 2 turns. Now, it will additionally deal 220% more damage if the target's defense is decreased, which she already does with her 1, obviously. I do not know if she is going to handle doing DPS all that well. That will have to be experimented with. Fire Lumi is a contract hero, or on the contract summon banner. She is a fire sniper. Her base attack is going up from 394 to 481, nearly 100 increase. Her 2 of a cooldown of 5 turns. Attacks all enemies, decreases their action gauge by 20% if the attack is a critical hit, and 40% chance to inflict stun for 1 turn. Now, still has the exact same stun, reduces the action gauge of the targets by 25%, so they took that level with plus 5 increase and just added it to the base if the attack is a crit hit. And now additionally has an 80% chance to inflict exposed weakness to the targets for 3 turns. And that level has been replaced with 10% debuff chance, so that should bring her stun up to 50, and the exposed weakness up to 90%. Her burst, spare cost 4, attacks all enemies, 60% chance to reduce their defense for 2 turns, ignores defense if the attack is a crit. Level 4 was debuff chance plus 10. Now, it has an 80% chance to reduce the defense of the targets for 2 turns, and it still ignores defense if it's a crit. And now additionally deals 35% more damage for every debuff on the target, just like Dark Lumi. And the debuff chance at level 4 is up 10 to a total of 20%. So the defense reduction gets to 100% at level 4. AoE 100% defense reduction is nothing to scoff at. I don't think anyone else actually has that. I think 80% is the highest on any other character. A lot of these are getting a lot of additional text. Her Refined Relic, upon attacking, 50% chance to decrease the enemy's resistance for 2 turns, which capped at 85%, is now going to be 70% chance at base, going up to 100% chance at level 4, and additionally has a 20% base chance to trigger Blitz 1 time, and that will cap at 50%, which will trigger off of any of her attacks, because all 3 of her abilities are attacks. So every time you have a 50-50 shot at firing that upgraded 2 for a chance at AoE stun and exposed weakness. Honestly, she might be a decent support for Dark Lumi in this case. Exposed weakness, she benefits from debuffs. Both of them benefit from that. She inflicts a decent number of them. She gets a lot of them out. Here is the one I was not expecting at all, given she is heavily used, and all of those proposed balance changes they were saying were for older heroes who don't get used very much. But Lightfram is highly effective already, and she's just getting better now. Her burst, spare cost 4, attacks all enemies, deals up to 5 times additional damage depending on max health. Very simple and straightforward, very good for a striker. Now, it additionally deals 100% more damage against dark elemental enemies. So this will make the Dark Silent Straits really easy to 50 million. Get that extra 500 Linkstones. On top of that, her Divine Relic, before, upon receiving damage, 50% chance to increase the user's attack power for 2 turns, which would cap at 80%. Now it starts at 70%, gets to 80% at the first tier, and additionally increases the attack of Light Fram by 5% for every light elemental ally on the field, which increases up to a maximum of 20% at max tier. So if that includes herself, that's another additional 100% attack, because she totally needed that. I'm all for seeing the absurd damage levels this is gonna bring, just out of curiosity. It's a little weird, I just noticed that this is at tier 4, so hopefully that number is correct. 80 to 80 would make sense. But she already does absurd amounts of damage. She's gonna do even more now. I don't know why they did this, or if it was necessary, but I'm here for it. Darkcrom. He was a paid package. He would be a Link summon now. If he's not on there now, he will be eventually. He suffers from the fact that he doesn't do a ton of damage most of the time, and he's mostly used for his 2 for his buffs. Speaking of his 2, cooldown of 4 turns, increases all allies' attack power and defense for 2 turns. At level 4, this would be 3 turns of buffs, and at level 6, it would get down to a 3-turn cooldown, so you could keep those up 100% of the time, as long as people aren't moving too quickly. Now it's by default 3-turn cooldown. The buff duration is up at the same level, so you only need to get it to level 4 to have 100% uptime on his attack and defense buffs. And now additionally, has a 40% chance to gain an extra turn. More than one cannot be gained in a row, and that increases up to 55% chance at level 6. So potentially, this could be a pseudo every other turn ability as well. His burst, before spirit cost of 4, attacks all enemies, fills all allies' action gauges by 20% if it's a crit. Used to get an increase of 10% to the action gauge gain, and reducing 1 spirit cost. Now the spirit cost is default at 3, and the action gauge gain from the levels is innate at 30% base. It also deals 35% more damage for every buff on the user, up to 210%. And all the levels are just straight damage now, so it's an extra 30% damage on this as well at max rank. I feel like he could synergize well with Dark Lumi as well, given they both benefit from having buffs on them more than just the buffs themselves. On to new heroes, we have Fire Bianca here. She is a fire commander. I believe our first fire commander, because we only have Dark, Water, and Light so far. So this is a nice addition. She is, of course, going to be a summon banner. And that banner goes from January 17th to March 1st, so approximately a month and a half. Something else to note here, Lightfram was a paid-only package. There is a chance you can get her on this banner, apparently. Was not expecting to see that, but given they're updating her, and she's really good, if you can, go for her on Bianca's banner. The only problem is the rates are absurdly low, because getting a hero in general is 2%, and 1% of that is purely taken up by the featured one. So if there's 3 others, she has about a 0.33% chance of coming through. Come to think of it, this is the first time she's ever been summonable, so this is the first time she'll have aptitudes available as well. She's had her relics available ever since Fram got all of her relics added. So not only is she getting absurdly buffed for no reason, but you might be able to get aptitudes for her, making her even more absurdly strong. This is something I was noting going through my Nightmare campaign playthrough. As you might have heard, there were no rewards for fully occupying an area. Now there are going to be. You get 50,000 renown for completely occupying each area. If you have already done this, you'll have to do 1 stage and it will trigger this reward. So this will be a total of an extra 650,000 renown. Nice solid chunk there. That'll get you your first ascension on 2 different heroes, or get you really close to a second ascension on someone. Okay, I did remember this right. Earthfram is getting added to the Link summon banner, so you can choose her for increased drop rate. So she will be getting aptitudes now as well. Names of Legends Relic summoning banner, starting on January 17th, permanently it seems, will be getting Arcanath, Light Joshua, and Water Mei Ling relics. Now see, here's something with this. This is the replacement for the 28-day journey, which I thought they were saying they wanted to make more accessible to people beyond having to do all of the 10 contracts, which takes a long time, upwards of nearly a year, before you get access to these extra rewards. So they've fine-tuned it. It's just a monthly check-in now. I don't know why they call it a monthly check-in. It's daily. This is completely replacing the previous 28-day journey. If you're already in the middle of a 28-day journey, you will still be able to finish that track of rewards, and then it'll go away permanently. So they say up there that you have to finish all 10 of the contracts still, which goes against what they were saying in that letter to the players that we read before. But then it also says here, this starts on February 1st, is when it's going to be first available, and will be available to all players who have completed Tutorial 1-2. So it sounds like this is just going to be available out the gate, but this up here sounds contradictory. So newer players, if you get into this on the first, let me know if you actually have access to this. But if we're looking at this, you're going to be getting, it would seem, 300 crystals every other day, except on the 5th day, 10,000 energy at periodic points, decent number of elixirs of insight. It's not a full month either, it's 25 days. And then you get the 300 Linkstones that you would normally get at the end of 28 days, and then an additional 50 twice. So you get an additional 2 pulls for free just by logging in a couple times during this. There is a Primeval Soulstone and a Mystic Soulstone as well. Don't know what this is specifically here. That might be an Augate chest. Don't know which kind. There is a premium version that you can pay $15, I would imagine, a month for. You still get the bonus rewards for checking in for 25 days. Looks like you get a free 10 skip tickets. I do not see any alchemy tickets anymore, which you would get every 7-day streak. So that's a little disappointing. The premium track gives you a full 1,500 Linkstones every 25 days. That appears to be the only thing that increases. Although, as far as I can tell, given the 23-day is completely different on these, well, 22, not 23. I would imagine also, since there's different tabs, that if you have the premium purchased, you get both of these, not just the enhanced one. And if you buy the premium, you get everything for all the days you've checked in so far previously. You don't lose out on those. That's nice. The monthly check-in resets the first of every month. Okay, so it sounds like you can miss 5 or 6 days depending on the month and still get everything. You don't have to get a streak in a row. As far as I can tell, you will get both the regular and the premium rewards if you buy the premium. They are going to be adding some accessories for Ecotestal and Charles III. There's going to be a Popo Bounty Hunt party time coming up. This will be available from the 19th to the 29th. And this is that one where you get warehouse crates with specific rewards of random amounts. Very random amount of Linkstones again. Okay, normally I don't go through these, but I have to make a point here. So there's going to be this paid package with Linkstones in it, this paid package with Linkstones in it. The Honors Club is going to be switching from crystals to Linkstones. You'll be getting more crystals in the monthly check-in, but you won't be getting any from this. This is $8 a month. You'll get 200 Linkstones instantly, and then 10 each day. So every 5 days you'll get 1 pull. However, this is paid as well. Those ones from before, in the premium version, were paid. The 90% discount packages will have Linkstones in them. The triple selection pack, you can get 200 Linkstones for one of these instances, but this is paid. Skill upgrade packs will have Linkstones in them, but they're paid. So, as far as I can tell, from all of that, the only new free-to-play Linkstones you get are 100. You get 2 more pulls from that 25-day check-in for free. Every other instance, and there's a lot of them, for Linkstones in the game, for them saying, we want to give more accessibility to Linkstones, all of them are paid. There is no new way to get free Linkstones. This is what I was saying at the beginning that I am not too pleased with. No buff to the rewards for silence traits, for actually putting an effort into the game and maybe giving players more Linkstones. Maybe at least enough to do 1 pull a day. No, none of that. Just here's a couple instances of 1 pull in a month, per month. And if you want any more, we give you, like, here's 20 new ways to pay us for them. That's not more accessible. That's just more gouging. And that is incredibly annoying, and I am very annoyed by that. Rant over. Moving on. Beretta's Eidolon Chase. January 19th to the 29th. This is during the Popo Hunt. This will give you extra party tickets based on number joined. Energetic Efforts from the 17th to the 24th. Training with Aslan from the 17th to the 31st. Daily Battle Training from the 22nd to the 31st. Paid to Upgrade from the 25th to the 28th. Obelisk Ascension from the 25th to the 28th. And like all new characters, there's going to be a Fire Bianca Commander banner from the 17th to the 1st. And speaking of Fire Bianca, let's take a look. Fire Bianca, our first Fire Commander. Decent health pool at 12,859 at level 70. Decent attack at 1455. Kind of somewhat low defense for level 70 at 1118. Decent speed. Her 1 attacks a selected enemy, heals the user based on the damage dealt. Additionally has a 100% chance to grant immunity to the user for 1 turn. Immunity is always nice. It seems to be very heavily on fire heroes. Her 2, cooldown of 3 turns, attacks a selected enemy, grants taking the lead to the user, stacking up to 10 times. This effect expires after defeating a wave of enemies. Additionally, fills the action gauge of all allies by 30%. What does taking the lead do? I feel like they might have announced that as a new buff in a previous announcement. I don't remember what it did, but that's the most stacks of any ability we've seen so far. Her burst, spirit cost 3, attacks a selected enemy, deals up to 5 times additional damage based on the target's maximum health. Okay, so she is a purely single target fire DPS. Grants focus attack earth to all allies for 2 turns. That, I forgot to mention previously, was announced in the update notes, is similar to Scald, but this increases damage against earth type enemies, specifically 10% more, for every stack of taking the lead on the user up to 100%. Okay, so that factors in there. So ideally, one would hope that her 2 goes down to an every other turn. Combine that with cooldown reduction people, you could do that every turn, stacking that up massively fast. That's going to take 10 turns to stack up. That's a long time. Or maybe once we get to her relic, she's going to have one that allows her to blitz, which would make sense and synergize nicely. Her stat skill increases her crit rate. Her elemental skill is damage against earth elemental enemies. She is clearly designed to fight earth enemies. Her commander skill, haven't had one of these for a while, increases burst gauge gain of all allies by 100% within the Calamity's Cradle. Still no commanders for Silent Straits. She would have been perfect for it too because she's from Isola. Dang it. Her basic relic, Cascatina, increases her attack. Her refined relic, 50% chance to generate a shield for the user based on her attack for 1 turn if the attack is critical, so self-defense mechanism. And her divine relic increases damage dealt against earth elemental enemies by 25%. No blitz. Dang it. That is immediately where my mind went to for a perfect synergistic relic, and they didn't do it. That's disappointing. Oh well. That is going to do it for Lord of Heroes news on Nyris Gaming today. Let me know in the comments what you think about the Linkstone situation. This is about where I was expecting it to go, given they said it before and didn't do anything about it, so here we are. They said they were going to do something about it, and they just made it more accessible to buy. I would like to be able to free-to-play more effectively. I don't want to spend money in hefty amounts regularly. But on that note, I shall see y'all in the next video.